What's going on, boys? It's Flaws, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to play the Lurk role effectively in Counter-Strike 2. This is going to be part of the series of how to play each role, but today we're focusing more on how to play as a Lurk. If you're someone who thinks that they know what they're talking about when they're talking about playing as a Lurk and your team's yelling at you because, you're the last alive, your whole team failed to actually get into a bomb site, that very well might be the case. If you're playing with a team that understands exactly what your role is, and they don't really mind having you sit back and get those kills on the people that are rotating back into the site, then you probably are playing on a decent team. If you're playing in a pickup game, it's usually most likely, just in the sake of your team's mentality, better to go with your team and hit the site just because you don't have to deal with people that don't understand what your actual intentions in the round are. That being out of the way, let's talk about what you should actually be doing and what you should be looking for as a Lurk. If you're a Lurk that doesn't understand how to, help your team get onto the site, it can be tough and you might be actually being a detriment to your team. But if you know how to use nades from across the map, like maybe you know a nice lineup where you can smoke different parts of B from A, right? Maybe you can smoke this off and help your team still get onto the site, but you're playing from over here. There's plenty of videos out there that you can help you understand how to throw cross-map smokes. So you throw all those, and then your team starts to hit the site, and you hear the CTs fall off on the A site. I think Anubis is one of those maps where being a Lurk can be really difficult because your team starts to throw your execute, and then you can lurk out onto the A site, right? And you can run from here all the way to B and not see anyone the entire time before the round's already over. But if you're someone who's an effective Lurk and your team trusts you, you get out onto the A site right here, right? And then you're like, okay, guys, come back A, like don't hit B, don't hit B. They stacked it, they already rotated back in. If you can keep pushing through, and you want to be the first point of contact where the CTs won't expect it, right? I pushed through all the way to here, the whole CT team rotated into B, or they're in mid and I might have got a free kill here. Once you get like your first point of contact, you're immediately putting a smoke or a Molotov or whatever you have in your arsenal out to actually stop the CTs from rushing right through and coming back to the site that your team's on, right? The Lurk can, in a weird way, be the entry if they're kind of just like creeping up into a spot that is the first contact, right? Like, so let's say my team wants to hit B and I'm the Lurk over at A, right? I'm waiting for any sort of contact that my team has over at B, just to kind of put a seed in the CT's mind that, okay, the T's are hitting B right now. When should I actually go? Once I start to like think that the CT is going to be rotating off the site, then I can start to work in, right? I'm still trying to be as silent as possible because I want the CTs to kind of just think that it's clear behind them. Same thing goes for like in mid, right? It's pretty easy to get up here in mid as a T and just kind of wait. I don't want to be the one who peeks out too early and then the CTs know that, oh, okay, like there can be someone still in mid, because then it's really awkward. My position's not as effective as it could have been. If I just waited a couple extra seconds, I hear the footsteps of the CTs going through on my left side right here, and I'm like, okay, no one's peeking now, I can start to work up. If I'm in here and I'm at this position and my T's have smoked the kind of default smokes on the site and they're keeping the CTs out of the site, and I start to work through here, if I get to this point, there's a really, really solid chance that we're going to win the round, right? Because the CTs don't know if I'm here. They don't know if I'm playing back of mid, or back of B main, I mean. And I'm kind of just like a big question mark of where I am on the map to the CTs. You also don't want to get into the habit of taking too long to be the Lurk. There's a lot of things you got to think of, but you don't want to be the one who's taking way too long. Okay, they already tapped the bomb. You don't peek out or anything. And then the CTs are like, oh, well, if he's not peeking from main and he's not peeking from, was that E-box, something like that? Yeah, if he's not peeking from E-box, not peeking from main, there's a really good chance that he was already flanking. And then they might just be taking a 1v1 fight with you and it's a 50-50 chance, right? So you want to try to get them in between that window of time where it's like, okay, they're rotated back towards the site, but they actually haven't fully executed back onto the site. If you hear them tap the bomb and it's like a 1v2, always try to find the person who's still looking for the possible T on the map. And then once you get that kill, try to use your nades to delay even longer. It's a big rule for playing the time on the bomb. You're always trying to just find a good timing on the CTs rotating back into the site and get free kills, which is kind of what the Lurker's role is. You also don't want to lurk every single round to the point where it's obvious. Like, only start lurking if it's pretty apparent that your team can get onto the site, you trust your team enough to get onto the site, or you just kind of feel like the CTs aren't being as efficient as possible and clearing back towards the opposite site, or they're retaking and they're rotating too quick. that's pretty much it for the lurk role. You just want to not be completely in a different world from your team. Like, just kind of still help them out. Maybe you throw some flashes, throw some nades to get onto the site. Okay, once you feel like they're on the site, then you can start to run to the opposite side. Okay, play from mid. Play in a weird spot where the CTs wouldn't expect you. And like, that is still a very viable way to be a lurk. But the lurk is kind of a role where you're almost neglecting your team for half the round, and you're just trying to secure the round in a different way, right? So as long as your team's okay with that, that's a totally fine way to play. Most pro teams are super okay with that, as long as their lurks being effective and they're not just kind of dying in a spot that's ineffective, in a spot that makes it so that their life isn't well spent, right? But anyways, guys, I hope this helped and just kind of change your philosophy on how to play as a lurker. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.